Bitcoin is literally teetering on the edge of life and death here at multi-year resistance of 30,000. It all depends on what happens with the BlackRock ETF, which is about to get either approved or denied by the SEC. But it's interesting to see the shift of sentiment in institutional investors. Let's see what Larry Fink just recently had to say, the CEO of BlackRock, about crypto and Bitcoin in general.
And also, I do believe the role of crypto, it's digitizing gold in many ways. Instead of investing in gold as a hedge against inflation or the devaluation of your currency.
A lot of the mainstream narrative has been denying calling it a digital gold. And now the CEO of BlackRock, one of the largest hedge funds in the world, just called Bitcoin digital gold. So this is a big sentiment shift that is definitely a potential bullish signal for the crypto industry and Bitcoin in general. But we also have to consider the fact that the NASDAQ and tech stocks just went on the largest run that we have seen in the last 40 years. And we are seeing some huge bearish divergences that are coming into fruition as we speak. And what we know about trading, if something goes parabolic, when we see a move like this, there is going to be a correction. Now, we're going to talk about what I project that correction to be in this video. My name is Fous. I've been trading for 20 years and I've made millions of dollars trading forex, crypto, and stocks. The purpose of this channel is to show you exactly what I'm personally doing with my multi-million-dollar portfolio so that you can in turn make more informed decisions and hopefully make some money for yourself. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm just showing you what I'm doing with my personal money. All I suggest you do is watch and learn. With that being said, guys, definitely hit that subscribe and more importantly, turn on that notification bell when these new time-sensitive videos go live because I'm showing you exactly what I'm doing with my own money in real time. Let's get to the video. All right, guys, let's first and foremost get right into the Bitcoin chart because this is a significant pattern that's starting to play out here. And to be honest, it's a little bit bullish, but also a little bit bearish. We do have a very bullish actual what I would call a revival pattern breakout, something that I've been teaching for many years. Essentially, a revival pattern breakout is a descending trend that is followed up by an ascending triangle breakout. And as soon as that ascending triangle breakout breaks out to the upside, that is a potential reversal and shift of sentiment in the market from potentially bearish to now a new bullish trend. So this level right here that we're sitting at is a major make or break moment for crypto in general. In addition, we have a lot of huge resistance that's been forming up for years right in this level between about 28.5 as well as about 30,000, 31,000. And we can even look at this level here from these pivots at about 33.1 as well as this pivot high of about 32,387. So as you can see, we've been continually trying to break out above this level. We came in and retested it here, of which I shorted this top right here, made some money on the way down. And then we saw this massive pull up to the upside after I actually locked in my gains as we had that confluence of support right here at about 25K, and we went right into that level. Now we're sitting here waiting to see what happens with the Bitcoin ETF based on BlackRock, as well as a bunch of other institutions that are actually filing for that ETF. But as of right now, it's still up in the air, right? We had this big, huge volatile day where the SEC just came out and said, you know what, we're not approving it. Your information is inadequate. The problem I see with this is I do believe it's the SEC stalling because maybe they don't want this to be approved. All these institutions have a lot of experience in this industry to be filing for an ETF, right? Futures ETF already were approved just not that long ago. Now this is for the spot ETF. The SEC said, no, we don't like what you presented here. We need more information. So who knows what's going to happen, but as we can see, every time we're spiking into this level, it looked like we were going to break out again yesterday. We just saw a massive collide of sellers that came in and said, nope, we don't like prices up here. Resistance is too strong, and we're not going to continue to support this move to the upside. As we can see here, guys, every time we spiked into this level, about mid-31,000s, massive selling pressure came in. Came back up and retested, wrong, massive selling pressure coming in. We saw this massive spike in yesterday, looking like we were potentially going to break out. Massive selling pressure coming in. So it's hard to say what's going to happen. I don't think we're going to break out to the upside unless the BlackRock ETF gets approved. And if it doesn't get approved, we're definitely going to see a cascading selling momentum coming back down where the next support level is this ascending trend line as well as that 25K level that we bounced perfectly off of right in this range. So if both those levels break down below 25K, that's the situation that could get very tricky for anyone who's trying to find a bull trend to have stable ground on and think that we're going to continue going higher. If we can't hold 25K, that is the scenario where I believe we could reach new all-time lows for this year of 2023, potentially below 15K, and then come all the way back down to retest these levels of around 10 to 12 to 9K here on Bitcoin. Now, obviously, nobody wants to consider that to be happening. It's hard to say. If we can't break above this level, of which we haven't, and the BlackRock ETF does not get approved, that's a scenario where that could happen. Now, that's just crypto in general right now. We also have to factor in what is happening with the US stock market. We just went on a huge euphoric run for the NASDAQ and S&P. US 30 didn't do a whole lot, but a lot of this was just triggered by FOMO and momentum in AI, not necessarily the economy doing much better or inflation really just getting tamed. It was this craze by like 5 to 7 stocks that made a massive run to the upside, one being Apple, Meta, Nvidia, among others like Google and Netflix. They just went on the craziest runs that we've seen in 40 years, okay? The NASDAQ literally just had the best 6 months in the last 40 years. So this is a unique situation where we're seeing this massive movement to the upside. But what we have to factor in here, guys, is that we're seeing some massive divergences now forming up on the charts. Let's actually just clean this up and see what I mean by divergences. A divergence is simply where indicators are showing a different signal than the actual price action itself, which typically means a potential top signal and the new highs that are happening in price are actually running out of momentum, volume, and steam. We can see here on the S&P, as we're pushing price up, we actually had a peak high here, came back down, and then a new high up here. If we look at the indicators that I use, these are custom indicators that I designed myself based on my 20 years experience with fear and greed and degenership. Both of them are now showing divergences. And just by example, what I can show you here, you can see price in an upward slope making a new high, whereas the actual indicators are now making a divergence for new lows, where the new high was actually correlated with the new low. This is what we call a bearish divergence. And a lot of times this can indicate that the momentum is running out of steam and we're looking for a potential pullback incoming very, very soon. That is the S&P 500. If we look at the areas where it could potentially pull back into, we have this pivot high here, which also correlates to these levels back here, right? These lows, this high, and this high, which is about 4,300. We also have the horizontal area right around here, which is around 4,100. So if we did see a pullback on the S&P 500 off the top here, to these levels, that's about a 6.5% pullback, which is about semi-standard for the actual pullbacks on the S&P 500. I have been getting short the entire time on S&P 500. Obviously, I was early. I've been shorting from about 4,100 on S&P. I actually just added my largest position to my S&P short just over here as we reached these highs, looking for that divergence. As soon as I saw this divergence forming, I added my biggest position short at about 4,450 here on S&P 500. I'm looking for about a 5 to 7% pullback on S&P 500. If we look at the NASDAQ chart here, guys, we're also seeing a divergence. This is my doodles from my Telegram alert. I do videos for my Telegram group that's a little bit more exclusive, guys, if you want to get my alerts, and I'll tell you exactly when I'm getting in and getting out in real time, so you don't have to wait for me on YouTube to make these videos. But we can see here on the NASDAQ futures here, guys, we have the 1, 2, 3, 4 test here of this descending channel, which also lines up with the descending support line here. We also have the ascending support here, and then potentially we have the confluence area right around here, which would correlate with about a 10% pullback on the NASDAQ. And if we look at all the pullbacks in the last bull run here, guys, we have 14%, 10%, 12%, 8%, 8% in that last bull run. Obviously, the bear market pullbacks were much, much bigger than those percentages. But if we had a typical pullback, similar to what we saw in the bull run of 2020 and 2021, that would correlate right into support that we have here from this pivot, as well as the ascending support here, about 10 to 12% here on the NASDAQ. Now, if this does play out with the position sizes that I have now, I'd probably make $200,000 to $300,000 on this trade. Granted, I was in a heavy drawdown on this trade. I was down about $150,000 to $170,000 as we spiked up to the upside, which was an uncomfortable position for me, but I still remained confident that we are going to have a pullback. Now, it wasn't the best risk management on my side. I'll openly admit that. But that's just life. Sometimes as traders, we make stupid decisions. Even though I've been doing this for 20 years, I do make mistakes. I have a tattoo here in my hand that says no risk, no fun. Right above that, it says Ancora Imparo, which also means I'm still learning. So that is a perfect example of a trader right there. No risk, no fun, and I'm still fucking learning. Even 20 years in the game, I get myself sometimes into sticky situations that I don't want to be in, but I am confident that we are going to see a pullback here in the markets back down to these levels, especially now that we're having divergences on these big moves to the upside, guys. I also just added to Meta here on a short position. If we look at this fucking chart on Meta, this is absolutely crazy. All right, look at this fucking move. Meta just ripped up 232% off the lows here. Basically, not a fucking pullback in sight. And we just topped out at this major resistance level as well as whole number major resistance at about $300. I just added short here as we got up here. I alerted in my Telegram group, and I also alerted before I even got short. I said, hey guys, as we're reaching into a $300 level here and filling this gap, this is looking like a potential short, so get ready for it. Then I alerted short that I'm getting in. I'm looking for a potential pullback on Meta anywhere between this pivot here at about 260 all the way down to this gap fill at about 211. It'll be interesting to see what actually happens in the markets, but I do believe we are long overdue for a near-term pullback. What happens after a 8 to 12% pullback on the Nasdaq? I don't know. There's still a lot of stuff going on in the economy that we have to factor in. We also have to look at the fact that look what's going on in European stocks, guys. We're seeing UK 100 roll over here big time. We're seeing Euro Stocks 50, of which I do have a short position on from up here right now, starting to roll over off of all-time highs. German 30 rolling over off of all-time highs right here, and then breaking down this long-term ascending trend right here. European stocks are already looking like they're getting ready to roll over. This is a huge double top. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. We also have to factor in the VIX here, guys. Look at the VIX, the volatility index. Typically, when VIX is on all-time lows, that means U.S. stocks are pumping to the upside. We just saw a huge multi-year low here for the VIX. Now, if we see a spike back up into kind of the middle ground range, which we definitely can see, we just saw it starting to turn around here in signs of reversal. That's also something to factor in for a reversal for stocks. And if stocks see a 8 to 15, 12% reversal here, Bitcoin is also at this major multi-year resistance at 30K. We're probably going to see a pullback on Bitcoin as well. But if we do see that approval for the BlackRock ETF or the other ones that are coming in like Fidelity and a few others, that could be some short-term bullish momentum to push this forward as a potential inflation hedge as the institutional narrative is starting to shift into literally calling it digital gold, of which a lot of the maxes have been calling it for a long time. I'm a little bit indifferent. I don't have a position long or short on Bitcoin. I'm definitely heavily short on the US stock market right now as we're sitting at resistance, waiting for this make or break moment of, is the Bitcoin ETF going to get approved or not? You can set up a trade plan here, potentially long, and with a stop in, and it's going to spike to the upside, or it gets approved and you can short with a stop to the upside and then hope for a downside spike. It's literally a hit or miss trade. It's not that high risk reward on either end. So right now, I'm just cash kind of sitting and waiting to see what's going to happen. I have a large position open up on US stocks still. So overall, guys, that's kind of where we're at in the markets. It's just a waiting game as of right now as well. Parabolic move to the upside, the biggest run we've seen in 40 years on the NASDAQ. We're going to come down. A typical pullback is 8 to 12%. And that's what I think we're right here at the beginning of right now. Anyways, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Again, turn on that notification bell. The whole purpose of this is to show you guys exactly what I'm doing with my own personal money so that you can in turn make more informed decisions for yourself. I also have a few other videos. One is me turning 20K into 1.7 million. Another one is going to show you exactly how I find altcoins before they 2, 3, 4, 10x. Okay, both those videos are going to be right here. They're both really great, provide a lot of value. Anyways, that's it for today. I'll see you in the next one.